Hey guys, one more time another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Thursday evening to you all. In this video, we're going to be talking about this Xavi Simons re-emergence of craziness, and we talk about Xavi Simons. We're going to be talking a little bit about as well the Champions League draw that just came out about 5-10 minutes ago. We know who are playing home, who are playing away. We don't know the dates yet, but we'll still talk about it anyway and get a bit of a feel for what we are going to be going through in the Champions League this year. I hope you've all been okay. I'm back from holiday. There's no sunny Spanish skies behind me. There's no barbecue behind me anymore. I've got Gareth Bale and I've got Tom Brady and I've got my Inside Spurs sign back. And it's good to be back, and it's good to be back home speaking to all of you. Evening Steampunk and Spurs, Ray, Caleb, how are we all? Let's start really with the Xavi Simons news, because there's a few bits and bobs that's come out in sort of the last couple of hours. And, you know, I've obviously been away and I've not really been keeping up to date with Spurs. And ironically, I've been away for a week, 8 days. And other than beating Manchester City, I've not missed anything. And we're coming to the end of this transfer window now, sitting August 28th. And there's still time to bring players in, and there's still time to rectify a situation. But right now, it's go time, because having signed Mohamed Kudus, Takai, and João Palhinha, we desperately need reinforcements. So let's talk about Xavi Simons, because Florian Plettenberg, about 3 hours ago, putting out an official offer from Tottenham to RB Leipzig for Xavi Simons is 100% confirmed, with both clubs in direct contact today. Tottenham pushing, and Xavi Simons is in London. An agreement between Leipzig and Tottenham is seen as a matter of time. Leipzig demand 70 million euros, including add-ons. No decision for now. It's up to Xavi and any potential Chelsea movement. Now, that's key, because I'm going to bring in the Matt Law tweet, which came out just over an hour ago. That Tottenham are close to agreeing a deal to sign Xavi Simons, following positive talks with RB Leipzig and player. But until transfer is confirmed, there will be a nervousness over the Chelsea threat. And I think that's the best way to have summed it up there. There will be a nervousness. You know, we think of Morgan Gibbs-White. We think of Eberechi Eze. You know, there's more. There's more in this window alone that we think, oh, we're going to get that guy. And then, lo and behold, it's not going to happen. You know, Hincapi, you know, it's not going to happen. So, yeah, I want to sit here with confidence and say that's going to happen. We're going to sign that player. But I can't lie to you. Nobody should sit there with any confidence and saying that we're going to sign him. Now, we can sit here with optimism, and it could be foolish optimism. It could be silly optimism. But do you know what? Life's too short to always be negative. I'm trying to find the positives in this transfer window. And Xavi Simons signing would be incredible. You know, we talked about earlier in this window, you know, we were linked with Eze's and Gibbs-Whites and Xavi Simons. And actually, all along, I was saying Xavi Simons is the one that I want. Of all the players that we were linked to, of all of their upsides, Xavi Simons' upside was night and day, miles clear of everyone else's. He's a wonderful player, wonderful player. I mean, I was looking at, where is it? What was Alistair Gold? Alistair Gold said something. Yeah, here's the article from Alistair Gold, actually, which I thought was quite fascinating. It says that the title really reads, Xavi Simons to Tottenham, chance of reality clear amid Chelsea fear. Now, with Chelsea's situation, I'll give you the update on that. They need to sell. That's kind of their situation at the moment. They're still looking at trying to sign Garnacho and that sort of thing. But, you know, looking to move in Nkunku, looking to move Nicholas Jackson, looking to move, I think there's some other players as well that I think they're trying to ship off to sort of free up that space. But again, they'll find a way. Chelsea seem to, when it comes to transfers, they seem to find a way. Yeah, well, you know, Spurs seem to find a way to not get these deals done, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. I mean, it's quite telling in this article. He says the attempts to improve the squad for Frank have brought more failures than successes, and now with just a handful of days left of the transfer window, Tottenham are scrambling to try and provide the quality of players that the new head coach needs to challenge on all four fronts this season. In essence, Spurs have brought in two new faces to the squad that finished 17th last season in the Premier League, while also winning the Europa League in Kudus and João Paulinho. I sort of, we've had the debacle of the Gibbs White. We've had the debacle of Eze. It's been painful. I think we're all sitting here going, I can't see this happening just purely on what we have been through this summer. I mean, Savinho, it looks like Savinho's not going to happen as well. Nico Paz, that's not going to happen. I mean, I could go on. Hincapi, it's six players. I think Gibbs White, Eze, Savinho, Nico Paz, Hincapi. I feel like there's one more that's sitting there that I can't remember. I mean, Xavi Simons at first, I guess, but he's back, so I can't really count that. But yeah, you know what I mean? There's been too many sort of ones that we've been burnt by. I mean, it literally says in this article, now comes another potentially painful move for another attacking midfielder who previously looked to be off the table in Xavi Simons. Now, if I'm correct in saying, I feel like the deal with Chelsea is somewhat done. The personal terms are done, and the length of the contract. I believe like the transfer fee. I feel like that's all sort of done, but we have to clear out players before we can get you in. This is the opportunity to swoop in and go, I'll have a bit of this. Because Arsenal wanted to clear out players because they wanted to sign Eze. We tried to swoop in, albeit quite slowly, and then the deal obviously went haywire. Obviously, we know that Eze really wanted to go to Arsenal in the end. That as well, not going down that road. I mean, this is a great line, by the way. Tottenham have a good relationship with German clubs, talking about RB Leipzig, as would you if you took Timo Werner off their hands for 18 months, which is brilliant. But it says the relationship between Simons and Chelsea, they appear to have been his preferred option all summer. There's a suggestion that the Blues must sell first before coming in for the Netherlands international. But Tottenham have heard this all before with Arsenal and Eze, and that ended in embarrassment. Yes, there may be more of a situation that they have to comply with certain things. But just to finish off what this article says, it says Tottenham sensed an opportunity and are believed to have verbally offered a sum close to 70 million euros, which is just over 60 million pounds, that Leipzig are looking for, and it has been done with the hope that a deal will get done amid those Chelsea fears. It's something, isn't it? Really, when you sort of look at it, it's never easy, is it? As Tottenham, it's never easy as a Tottenham fan. Just painful. Newcastle signing Nick Waltermade. Oh, interesting. All right, fair enough. Didn't see that. Yeah. Here we go. It's on Twitter. I've literally just been on Fabrizio Romano's page, and there is no here we go. I mean, I'll refresh him, but I don't think there was a here we go. 1 minute ago, Ivan Azon to Ipswich Town. There's no here we go confirmed. I won't believe it until he's signed. He's holding that top. The only thing that's annoying it's been reported that Simons has asked Leipzig to not accept an offer until Chelsea make a move. Look, I don't know. I'm not going to even hazard a guess anymore. I'm just sitting here like, what's the point? I sit here and I'm trying to be like, no, we can get someone. We can do this. We can do that. And it's like, well, no. Apparently we can't. And we seem to screw ourselves so frequently, I think it's David Ornstein's birthday today. Oh, it's his birthday today. There you go. No, it's not on Ornstein's either, mate. Dave Gintler has just subscribed. Appreciate you, Dave. Any relation to David, by any chance? Spurs won't bid if the player isn't giving the full green light because of how embarrassing the Eze deal was. Thing is, I've got a feeling that Eze wanted to come, right? But you can still want to go to a club, right? And still want to go somewhere else. It's not that you don't want to come. I have that attitude towards it. Don't get me wrong. He's probably not going to get a very nice welcome at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, is he? You know, but yeah, I mean, there's that. But look, on Simmons, absolute star, absolute stud. You know, coming through the Barcelona system. You know, being a youth player at PSG, obviously the PSV loan that he had, the Leipzig era that he has been in. I genuinely assumed, due to Musiala's injury, that he had gone there. You know, I thought that made so much sense. But you know, there's chatter that, you know, if Chelsea were to miss out on Xavi Simons, that they would look at Fermin Lopez from Barcelona. Doesn't play probably as much football as you'd hope. Fermin's a good player, actually. I really like him, but he doesn't play as much football as you like. You know, having players like Dani Olmo and Pedri and Gavi, and you know, alongside the Rafinhas of the world. You know, so yeah, very interesting, really. But on Simons, yeah, I would love him. I would love him. I think he's an absolute star I think he's a star now, but he is a star, if you know what I mean, a superstar in the making. And I think he would suit Thomas Frank's system. You know, he can play out wide. He can play as a 10. You know, we can do it all. Yeah, he can do it all. But the fact that Spurs are so close to agreeing is quite fascinating. And again, I'm not sitting here going to say, you know, no, it's going to happen, because do you know what? I've said it with two or three other players this summer, and they haven't happened. All right, I'm not an in the know person, by the way. So if you're sitting here thinking I'm a guy that has contacts and things like that, my life is too busy to sit there and try and get contacts in the Spurs transfer world. I haven't got the time or day for it. Missing out on Gibbs White and Eze, only to panic and get this dude. Only Spurs could fall upwards after two disasters. Yeah, I do think he's an upgrade on both of those players. He was one that you know, when people were saying you get one player in reasonable terms, in terms of, like, you know, you're not going to sign Lamine Yamal, you know what I mean? It's, who would it be? It was, this guy would be brilliant, you know? I mean, the fact that, you know, people were talking about Kobe Mainoo, and I think, you know, that's a fascinating situation at Man United, how he's looked at so unfavourably under Amorim. Also, by the way, Grimsby Town. I got off the plane yesterday and I see Grimsby Town have won on penalties versus Man United. It's mental. But he's not playing. And I think he is a good player. I do. For me, on a player like Kobe Mainoo, it's just more cost than anything, you know. Something different about Xavi. He's a physical. He won't struggle come to the Prem. He has put on some size this summer. He's clear, you know, because obviously he's quite young, Xavi Simons. Hang on, let me bring up how old Xavi Simons is. Xavi Simons. Let me bring up his transfer market. He's 22. So he was 22 in April. So right now, obviously, as a footballer, as a male footballer, you physically develop. He's growing into his man's body, as they call it, your man's body, right? And what that means is you're starting to develop the density, you're starting to develop, you know, muscle sort of size and thickness. So he is growing, and you look at him now and he looks ready for the Premier League. And I think he's probably in the mindset of getting trained with the mindset of, I'm probably going to be in the Premier League in the next couple of years. Let's be ready. So there you go. Evening, Ian. Yeah, we're going to come to the Champions League draw right this second. But yeah, let's see on Simons. I hope the next time I talk about Simons, it's a final, it's done or not. Because I tell you what, I can't deal with another Eric Eze. I can't deal with that. It's just painful, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like every day we're getting a little bit closer. Hey, we've inched 1 inch further forward. You know, after listening, how are you? Call me a doubting Thomas, but we have a better chance to recruit Richard Simmons than Xavi. Cool, Jesus. ITKs don't always know what they're talking about at times. I don't listen to anyone now. I just wait for them to be playing a game. Tottenham, even holding the shirt means nowadays. I know it's when you've been burnt that many times, it's so painful, isn't it? You know, you sit there as a Tottenham fan and you're willing a deal to be done. Just, you know what I mean? It's like, Wake up in the morning. Is the deal done? No. Okay. Maybe it gets done later. Maybe do you know what? They're waiting to get past lunchtime, get past their morning meetings. It gets done in the it gets in afternoon. Okay, well in the afternoon they'll get home and they'll maybe sign a few emails off and blah blah blah. It's like just willing the deal to be done. So there you go. Anyway, let's move on and let's talk a little bit about the Champions League draw that came out, like I said, about 25 minutes ago. Quite interesting, the Champions League draw. Quite interesting because obviously we were pot 3 this year. Hold up. Sorry, Xavi Simons. So the source, who's is Secret Prem, who tell you what, Prem Inside and Secret Prem have been on it this summer. They've been one of the better ITKs, by the way. So check them out. They put this out an hour and 20 minutes ago. Take of this what you wish. I don't know exactly, but take of this what you wish. Tottenham's package of £60 million for Xavi Simons satisfies Leipzig. Player has been at Hotspur away today with Spurs close to agreeing personal terms and working to finalise a deal quickly. I'll repeat that just in case you maybe missed a couple of bits. Tottenham's package of 60 million for Xavi Simons satisfies Leipzig. Player has been at Hotspur away today with Spurs close to agreeing personal terms and working to finalise a deal quickly. Wow. God, if it doesn't happen, that's gonna feel like a knife in the heart. That's going to feel like a knife in the heart. I heard at 1 p.m. Chelsea had turned their attention to Fermin Lopez around 45 million euros. 15 minutes ago, it's been reported Barca now want 90. Yeah, but you know what it means is like you want this, we bid this, and you sort of try and do that, don't you? You know. Yeah, Fabrizio's had a rough couple of weeks with Spurs, hasn't he? I'm worried that we have egg all over our faces. This has Eze written all over this. Oh, there's that. There's that. Poseidon said Lutman is our priority for left wing. Yeah, Poseidon's been good this summer as well. He's been good this summer as well. You know, it's not true, but I bet. I mean, Morgan's White was looking at Barbers in London up in there. That was hilarious. The fact that people were like going through his following list and seeing like London companies that he was following. Brilliant. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about the Champions League draw because this is fascinating. This Champions League draw. What I'll do is I'll read the teams that we're playing at home first, so the first 4, and I'll read the teams that we're playing away because I tell you what, there are some familiar faces that we play away this year. But anyway, the home teams are Borussia Dortmund, Villarreal, Slavia Prague, and FC Copenhagen. So home draws wise, there's no reason why we couldn't win all 4. I think that's fair to say. I think Dortmund are a good side, and I think Villarreal had a good year last year. But in reality, when you're playing at home in the Champions League, the real idea is you want to be winning at least 3 of your 4 home games for sure. But those 4 are all very winnable home games. Now, the away games are fascinating because we just played this team 2 weeks ago. We played PSG away from home, and look, we know what they're about. We know we can play with them. Let's see what happens. Obviously, away from home is a bit different. We then play a team that we played in the Europa League last year in Eintracht Frankfurt, a team that we won 1-0 against last year, obviously en route to winning the Europa League. But that was the tie before Bodo Glimt. And we play away at Bodo Glimt again this year. And again, we played them home and away, beat them both times. And then our last away game is Monaco. Sorry, last draw is Monaco. So the away teams are PSG, Frankfurt, Bodo Glimt, and Monaco. That's not a terrible draw whatsoever. You know, I think the home side of things, you know, Dortmund, Villarreal, Slavia Prague, and Copenhagen, you've got to be winning 3 of those 4. I look at the away games, like I would even chalk PSG up to a loss. Like if we're on paper, chalk up to a loss. I think of the next 3, you win at least 1 of them. Therefore, you've got your 4 wins. You've got your 12. You may not reach the first top 8 to go through into the next round. You'll be in the playoffs side of things. But we've beaten Frankfurt. We've beaten Bodo Glimt. We could do it easily again. I think we're going to have a better team. Hopefully, we're going to have a fitter team. There's the other thing. being a fitter team is going to be massive. So yeah. What do we think about this draw? What do we think about this draw? I think this draw is quite favourable. Yes, you're playing the Champions League winners away. I get that's not a great draw, but you look at the teams that we have drawn. We've beaten two of them in the last sort of 6 months. In a European format. Obviously Monaco, bit different. That's probably one of the worst ones that we could have pulled out of pot four. Because I think they were pot four. I don't know, but they're a good side, Monaco. Obviously, we know about Dortmund. We've had a lot of success against Dortmund over the years. To be honest, I always think about Jan Vertonghen, and I think of Dortmund. I think of Musa Sissoko playing Harry Kane through and goal and whipping it top corner. Obviously, Villarreal, a solid side in terms of the La Liga last year. I mean, I think they finished fourth last year in La Liga. Don't hold me to that. I think they finished fourth. Obviously, Bodo Glimt and Frankfurt. Frankfurt, a good side in Germany. I mean, Frankfurt. Hey, they started the season well. 4-1 win at home to Werder Bremen. They won 5-0 in the first round of the German Cup. They're sitting second in the Bundesliga, right behind Bayern Munich, of course. But like last year, they were very good. 24-25. They finished third. They finished actually ahead of Dortmund. So actually, we've got third and fourth of the Bundesliga in our draw this year, which is, hey, that's quite fascinating. Obviously, in Monaco, let me bring up Monaco. 2 games played this season, 1 win, 1 loss. But last season finished third behind Marseille and obviously PSG. So we've got first and third in the French league as well. And then obviously let's have a quick look at Villarreal. Top of the La Liga, 2 games played, 7 goals scored, 0 goals conceded, 6 points from the possible 6. But, last year of 24-25, they finished 5th, sorry. So they were in the last spot there. They were joint 4th with Athletic Bilbao, 6 points behind, Atletico Madrid. So, all in all, very interesting. I mean, I'm quite surprised we don't have an Italian side. I thought we would have had an Italian side, but, it mixes it up, I guess, a little bit different. Comes down to injuries. We need depth. Absolutely, we do need depth. Darren, how are you? Why can't we bring back Ange for to charm Simons? Jesus. We're reaching down bad, aren't we? Yeah, brutal, isn't it? Dyer is at Monaco. Yes, Eric Dyer's at Monaco. He shall return. But no, I think the draw's good. I think, look, when you're sitting in a competition of 36 teams and the top 8 all progress automatically, it's never easy to finish in that top 8. Obviously we did well in the Europa League with doing so, but in the Champions League, it's a different beast. So let's see how we get on. Let's see how we do. I think we've got a fascinating draw. I think we've got a fascinating time coming up. Yeah, it's. I think we should all be on paper happy with the draw. Let's see what we do in the next few days of this window. I think it's going to be quite crucial. We know what Spurs are like when it comes to injuries. Obviously, this weekend. Just hit my funny bone. That hurts. Bournemouth at home this weekend. It's a good opportunity, I think, to get a few other faces playing. I think it's important really to keep rotation going right now. I know obviously after this game, we don't play again till the 13th, which is the way at West Ham. It'd be good. Obviously, I know there's 2 weeks gap between Saturday and onwards. It's good for that rotation just to keep players fresh, keep players fit, so I've no issues with that. Thomas, how are we? What's your opinions on Luka Vuskovic joining Hamburg on a season-long loan? I don't mind it, Dan. I personally don't mind it. My attitude is he playing week in, week out football in the Bundesliga? Because if he is, That's amazing for his development. It's a great league. It's somewhat similar to the Premier League. It's quite a quick league. Yes, maybe it's not as physical, but it's a quick league. Good football. You've still got some really good sides that he'll be coming up against in your Bayerns and your Dortmunds from Frankfurts and so on and so forth. So I like the move personally. I do like it. What we do at centre back is going to be fascinating. So I assume we're going to be trying to bring someone in, seeing as Radu's probably back in what, 3-4 months? Like we're eighth month. Yeah, I'd say 3 or 4 months he'd be back. Probably about then. About then. Obviously, you got Big Kev Dancer, you got Romero, you got Mickey Van der Ven, but sometimes you're playing a back five, and that requires 3 centre backs, so you're going to need bodies. They'll probably use Takai, won't they, actually, thinking about it. Eric, thanks for the welcome back, mate. I'm glad they put it in the bids. Make players use and move on. Yeah, as losing made my week. It's it was mental getting off the plane and seeing that. Absolutely mental. But there you go. Anyone not happy with that Champions League draw aren't real Spurs fans. We got the right result. Yeah, but sometimes we, in the past, have pulled what's deemed an easy draw, and we've somehow screwed the pooch. Whereas when we've been dealt like the group of death, we've come out top of the group, and it's like, what the hell's going on? So just to finish off with a little bit of Xavi Simons flavoured news. This is from Poseidon. Again, it's been really solid on the transfer front this summer. Growing increasingly confident of a chance for Xavi Simons. Player has indicated that he has no issues regarding the Tottenham project. Spurs are ready to make Simons one of the top earners at the club pending a quick agreement with Leipzig. Spurs ideally want one more attacker regardless of the conclusion of the Simons saga, with Ademola Lookman towards the top of that list. Obviously, that's a really weird one, actually, with Lookman. Just want to have a quick look. Huh? That's terrible of me, I know. But leave me to it. He's 27. He turns 28 in October. So just under 2 months, he turns 28. Contract 2 more years left. I just want to see, because I know he had a falling out, right? So he had a falling out with Gasperini, who's now at Roma. Last season, 40 games played, 20 goals, 7 assists. So 27 goal contributions in 40 games is pretty outrageous. In the league, he had 31 games played, 15 goals, 5 assists. So you're talking about 20 goal contributions in 31 games, which is pretty good. In the Champions League, 7 games played, 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 and 7. That's pretty decent. He can play out on the left. He can play centrally. He is Prem proven. He didn't have the best of times in the Prem, but he's developed and going to a great league. He was massive in that Europa League final when Atalanta won. Absolutely incredible. He has developed so much in his time at Atalanta. I mean, in 23-24, so not last season, season before, 45 games played, 17 goals, 10 assists, and 27 goal contributions again. In the league, he had 31 games played, 11 goals, 8 assists. Europa League, 11 games, 5 goals, 1 assist. It's not bad when you think about it. What that value looks like, I don't know. But one of the big things with Lookman, he was going to be going to Inter Milan, which it fell through. I feel like it fell through, but his camp supposedly reached out to Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, City, Villa, because the Inter deal has collapsed. Wow. Interesting. I don't know what the value would be on that deal. Would be on that deal, but the Lookman deal collapsing is pretty massive. It's pretty massive. So if you wind up, you think back a week ago, whatever it was, when this Eze deal basically fell through. If you wind up with this window finishing out with Lookman and Xavi Simons, I would never complain about that as a combo. I think we should all be pretty happy about that combo. Now, what they're doing at centre back, I don't know. Obviously, the Hincapie, we were interested, and then we hadn't made a bid, and then we're not interested anymore. Not sure what happened there. Bit weird. I'm saying that of the ITK beef. But will they do anything at centre back? I don't know. I feel like they need to, because exactly what Alistair Gold's report was. to compete on 4 fronts, you need to be giving Thomas Frank these players. And do you know what? You've signed 2 real players this summer in Kudus and João Paulinho, who have both been brilliant so far, but it's 2 players. And last season, when Spurs spent, I don't know, 75% of the season with at least 8 or more injuries, something stupid like that per week, at times having over half a squad out injured, the real energy needs to be, yes, we need to bring quality, but we also need bodies, because clearly we run through them so quickly. So let's see on that side of things. I think it's a fascinating period for Spurs coming up in the next few days. The window is only open for a few more days. The Spurs need to be active. And if they're going to be active, we'll then hopefully get here we goes and big bombers soon. But until we see that, I think this community can agree with me for this whole one point. Until it's done and they're holding up a shirt, we will struggle to truly believe. And I think that's fair for all Spurs fans. But look, thank you all so much for joining me this evening. Please go and enjoy the rest of your evenings. Please look after yourselves. And I hopefully am tomorrow going to be speaking to you about all this. But if not, I'll speak to you at the weekend and hopefully talk a lot more about Tottenham. Take care, everyone. Peace.